Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I'm actually doing this on my camera phone because I gotta get going to work very soon. So, pretty much I'm doing this album review for Wallows' new record, Model, that came out yesterday. So, let's dive right into this 12-track album review that I listened to for 37 and a half minutes. So, yes, let's dive into this album review. Now, pretty much Your Apartment is the opening track, and it starts off pretty good. I like how Dylan's vocals sound, and basically the harmonizing from Dylan and the other guy sounds pretty good. I think it's mostly Dylan singing this track, but it's still pretty strong. So 4.75 out of 5. Anytime Always is a pretty good one too. So really dug this track as well. Dylan's vocals were pretty good. So this is a 4.75 out of 5. Calling After Me was a solid track. It's good in its own way, but I have a few critiques with this track. But overall, 4.5 out of 5 for this one. Um, just how it's sounding and executing at times. It has its hit or miss moments. Bad Dream was a solid track. I'd give this a 4.5 out of 5. I didn't necessarily hate this track, but I just felt this track didn't really offer much with the backing vocalists singing just this song. It was fine, but it was alright. You can let me know in the comment section below because it's been a little while since I've done a Wallows album review since 2022, so it has been a little bit, and I probably didn't go check on Wikipedia to make sure who else was singing backing vocals for their records, so that was on me, so my apologies for that. A Warning is a 4.25 out of 5. I didn't necessarily think this was my favorite track, but it's fine. It's above decent. Um, I was hoping this wouldn't suck that much, but it had its cringy moments through the song, so it's a little bit of a filler track to get through the record, but it's not a horrible song. I Wouldn't Mind is going to get a decent rating of a 4 out of 5. This one is kind of mid, but also fairly decent. With how most of it sounds, it's alright, but it's just when the chorus comes in, it's a little lacklusting from time to time. So 4 out of 5. You Show Me Where My Days Went is a 4.5 out of 5. I think it's a good track for what it goes for, but I have a few critiques with this track, with how it sounds. Um, but overall, Dylan's vocals are pretty strong in this track from time to time. Canada is a 4.25 out of 5. Didn't hate this track, just have my moments where I like it and moments where I am iffy about it. But it's above decent, so it's an alright track. It's not a good track, but it's above decent. 4.25 out of 5. It's just the way it's executing with the melody and structurally how it's sounding. It's has its filler moments. Don't You Think It's Strange? Sorry about my sniffles, just allergies or whatever. Is going to get a 4.5 out of 5 for Don't You Think It's Strange. I actually did dig this song a little bit. It's a good track, but I have a few critiques with the song, with how it's sounding some of the time. Not everything about the chorus was terrible. It was the best part of the song. But it's just the verses kind of felt a little slightly weak. Slightly, not in a bad way. It's just a track to get through for the record. She's an Actress is gonna get a 4.25 out of 5. I think this track's above decent, but not fairly well executed in my opinion, because Dylan's vocals with how he's singing it have its hit or miss moments, but it's alright for what it goes for, so it's a filler track to get through the record, like I said. 4.25 out of 5. Going Under is decent. I was really trying to like this track, but it's just the shouting didn't really execute too much with how Dylan was singing and shouting in the track. It just had its filler moments and its cringe moments. So there were some hit or miss moments and fairly decent, but could have been better executed. 4 out of 5. Only Ecstasy is the closing track for the record, and it's above decent. I think it's a fine closing track, but it's not one of the best closing tracks I've heard to close this record. I think the opening to the record was the strong point for the record. The opener song was good, the second track was good. There were some other tracks that were pretty fair, but overall, Only Ecstasy, like I said, is getting a 4.25 out of 5. And overall, production, mixing, and execution wise, I found Wallows' new record, Model, to be a decent record. Not one of my favorites for the year, but there's some tracks I could come back to, like Your Apartment, Anytime Always, Calling After Me, Bad Dream, You Show Me Where My Days Went, Don't You Think It's Strange, and that's about it. The other tracks are about decent to above decent, and they're fairly decent, the rest of the tracks. So there's a couple tracks I could come back to, like 6 of them at least. So half the record I did enjoy, the other half was kind of iffy. So if I were to give it a score, like I said, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 for Wallows Model. Decent record, not one of my favorites, but it could have been a little better, but this is what we're getting. So 7 out of 10 for Wallows' new record, Model. Thanks for watching this review, and I'll have another video coming out as soon as I can. I just got to go to work. But until then, have a good rest of your weekend.